Get real and heal. Listen to Christie on Soul Journeys Radio.
Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to Unzipping Reality, the Third Awakening. Today is Mother's Day, May 11th, 2014. And welcome, everyone. I really appreciate everyone tuning in. And my traditional greeting is us, love us. Us, love us, everyone. Here we are all together on Mother's Day, and I just want to give my children a shout out because they have been my greatest teachers. And so we're talking about Austin Ryan, Connor Heston, Dylan Harper, and Breck Auburn. So those are my kiddos, and I love them very much, and they're all completely different and really fun and quite intelligent and pretty discriminating when it comes to life. So I love you guys. Thank you so much for being my children. And so it is an honor to be here with you this evening, and I think that it's just time to start. And the way we do that on Unzipping Reality is we just look to see what's there. And what's there is reality. And, you know, we're noticing that reality is now sufficiently unzipped. It really is. It's unzipped enough to see the portal. The portal is open. You see it? Do you feel it? Do you sense it? The portal is open. We are the ones who opened it. And so I think it's just about time that we step through and be who we really are. And joining me this evening, this is going to be a fun-filled show, is Christie Czajkowski. Sometimes she is known as Christie Aphrodite. And Christie is a wonderful presence in this world. Tonight she's going to be talking about loving yourself out of your comfort zone. And so buckle your seatbelt because Christie is no stranger to talk radio. She has been hosting Soul Journeys Radio, or maybe under a different name, Soul Journeys Radio, for the past 6 years, and that really takes something. Christie is what I would term a natural healer. I think she can heal just about anything. She is a holistic health coach, and she teaches others to heal themselves through intuition, herbs, essential oils, and nutrition. She has a website, and it is mytrueessence.net, mytrueessence.net. And so here we go, Christie. Happy Mother's Day, you wonderful woman.
Happy Mother's Day to you, beautiful Princess Leah.
Well, this is so fun to hear our vibrations combine again because, listen, I want to acknowledge you. You have been so generous and gracious to me, Leah LaChapelle, to have me on your show for, I don't know how long, a year and a half, or I don't know, maybe 2 years. I don't even remember now, but it was like a monthly feature, and we just always had so much fun, and you kept inviting me back, and I really do appreciate that. And it is about doggone time that I had you here on Unzipping Reality. So welcome, 100% welcome, Christie.
Thank you. This is fun. It's so good to be back with you, and this is like my maiden voyage because it's been since December for me.
Yes.
And it's
can you
always
kind of bring us up to speed? Yeah, can you
with you and your presence, and I just love you to death, Princess Leah.
Well, thank you, and I know that there are people that are that are very grateful that they're hearing you again. Can you kind of bring us up to speed a little bit about your radio presence? And but you know what? Before we do that, could we just get something out of the way? You know what? I got to say hi to my kids, and I would love for you to be able to do the same because you are a fantastic, loving mother. So would you like to say hello to yours?
Absolutely. I love my little angels so much, and I got to speak with my sweetie, Amberly, today, and it's just, I think it's so funny as we grow up and evolve and learn. When we're children, we think that, our parents or adults, they have it all together and they know all the answers and they're supposed to be teaching us. And I think we bring that to our parenthood, thinking that, we're supposed to have all the answers. And a lot of parents, I'm noticing, and even myself included initially, I didn't look at children as the beautiful, magnificent, incredibly wise teachers that they really are. So, I just have to thank my children for being the greatest, sweetest, most beautiful, most talented, angelic little teachers in the world. So, they're just the best.
Yes, Amberly and Samantha. So, yes. Hi, Amberly. Hi, Samantha. And sure am glad. Yeah, I sure am glad that you have a mom. And so, it's a great time to be alive. And I don't know. I don't have all the answers. Sometimes our moms are a little weird or a lot weird. And I really think that's okay. And I just kind of wanted to share this, Christie, because I think that it's germane when you're here on this program. And that is that I heard this. I was watching Friends on TV. That sitcom Friends? It was on for years, Mm-hmm. And so there was this little piece that I saw on there, and one of the male characters, Chandler, was really having problems with his mother. And, Chandler had judged his mother, okay, because she was a hottie. And he just could not understand how his mother could be such a hottie and maybe not worship him, And so Chandler said to her, when are you going to grow up and start being a mom? And wow. This is an adult man saying this to the mother, and this is, of course, fiction. It's a sitcom. But the mother replies with, when are you going to grow up and realize I'm your mom?
Yeah, good one.
Isn't that awesome? So, whether you're Amberly or whether you're Breck, my daughter, it doesn't matter. It's like, hey, we're the mom. So, happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day.
So, anyway, I just kind of wanted to get
that show pointed out, the judgments and the roles that society, kind of imposes upon us, and we try to take them on, whether they are in us or not, whether it's natural to us or not, or, some of the common stereotypes, mothers or women in general are supposed to be like June Cleaver, or, yes. Men are supposed to bring home the bacon and women are supposed to be in the kitchen and raising children, and and I don't have a problem with that. In fact, I love being in the kitchen and I love raising children or whatever, but that doesn't work for everybody. Sometimes it's totally backwards, and I could see how Chandler was like, wait a minute, you're not June Cleaver, and, exactly. All my buddies think you're hot. And that's not the image that a mom, once you have that label, is supposed to, uphold. So, yeah, it's kind of funny.
Exactly.
It's interesting to question the different roles and judgments that we hold and perceptions and, if you don't fit into this mold, then, you must be doing something wrong. Well, what if we were all doing something right? What if it was we were following our own paths and being, living up to our unique individuality? What if? What if?
Whoa. Okay, we're going to get into that. That's just a little tidbit. Before we get into this whole conversation about comfort zone, I would just love it if you could kind of bring people up to speed about what you've been doing since you stepped away from the internet radio microphone. And I know that we'll be tying all of this in to how to get out of your comfort zone, how to recognize if you're in a comfort zone that has become stale, all of these kinds of things, and how to love yourself. But could you just kind of hit the highlights and give people an overview of what you've been up to, so it'll take a little bit of some of that mystery out of there?
Yeah, how much time do we have?
Yeah. There's nowhere to hide, Christie.
You know what's funny? The last video I made before I was deleted, it was literally like 20 minutes after I made that video, and it was called Stepping Outside of Your Comfort Zone. And I was talking about all of the ways that I was aware of and that I was consciously trying to do things different than I normally do. For example, when I left Branson, I thought I was going on a month trip. I had all these different destinations in mind and, you know, all these ways that it was supposed to be. You know, things changed, and I was on the road much longer, so there I was without my comfortable, delicious organic fresh ground coffee, or without my own homegrown tobacco, or without, you know, sometimes even without money, and wild foraging and fishing and, you know, painting rocks and things like that. So I was just talking about how I was, you know, kind of stepping out of my own comfort zone. Oh, yeah, I wasn't oil pulling. I wasn't doing urine therapy. I had just finished up the hairy armpit experiment and all these other things I was trying to do to force myself to step outside of my comfort zone. Yet, I still had this comfort, right? My videos, and which was my income, and my shows, and, you know, people that rely on me and people I rely on, and, you know, things like that. So I knew that right after I made that video that I was going to be forced to step outside of my comfort zone even further, which, you know, is obviously challenging. But it's also exciting to just not have everything planned our way, because I firmly believe, you know, some people, they talk manifestation and this and that, and, you know, the law of attraction and setting your intentions, and I think that's all great and wonderful, but I happen to believe that there's something out there a little smarter, stronger, and wiser than us, whatever it is that beeps our heart or makes our eyes blink or pumps our blood or whatever that is. And when we set our intentions or our goals, like my trip, all these different stops that I intended to make and all of these plans I had laid out to do the trip, we can only see what we know based on our perception at the time. There's so much more out there than what we can perceive at any given moment. So sometimes it seems really drastic. It's like, oh, yeah, Christie, you think you're stepping out of your comfort zone. Well, watch this. Smack. Oh.
Whoa. So you were living in
details and how everything is panned out and turned out, and it was. It happened way better, way more exciting, way more amazing than I could have ever dreamed up when I left my house in the middle of December thinking I'm going on a 3-hour tour. You know, a month-long road trip.
Oh, my goodness. So, all right. So you were making your videos. You were doing your internet radio show, Soul Journeys. And by the way, I am wearing my Soul Journeys T-shirt tonight in honor of you. Yes, I love it. And so you were doing that there in Branson, Missouri. And so, you know, it wasn't paradise for you. There were ups and downs there, but that was your home. And so you went out on this trip. So you subsequently have taken a season off of doing your radio show, but you are still doing your coaching, correct, from your new home?
Yeah, but I'm doing it in person, one-on-one. I'm teaching classes here, and, it's amazing because I knew that something had to change, but I was still trying to hold on to what I knew. I mean, I knew I always wanted to have an RV and be able to travel and still be able to feed myself and things like that. But when I was setting my intentions, I was doing it the old way. Like, oh, you're going to have to quit everything you love to go get this job you hate, and then hopefully if Uncle Sam or the power company doesn't steal it at all, maybe 20 years from now you'll be able to accomplish that dream, right? Yeah. But it wasn't until I was stretched even further to, let go of what I thought I knew or what I thought I wanted to allow the magic to transpire in the ways it did that gave me way more than I ever thought I could acquire or obtain on my own volition.
Wow. Even though you knew that in your head. I mean, because I know that you knew that.
Yeah, because time. And that is kind of why I try to stretch myself. That's why when I ended up with another passenger and another dog and no money to feed her, only food and stuff for one person, I'm like, you know what, this is cool. Let's test my survival skills. And it wasn't like stressful. It was like, all right, I get to follow my intuition and figure out how we're going to eat tonight. Or I get to follow my intuition and figure out where we're going to sleep tonight or how we're going to make this happen. And, there was this point in time, where I let it all go and was like, wow, this is cool. Let's see what we can do. Where everything fell into place. It was almost like instant manifestation, like, oh, I wish we had suitcases. Boom, there's suitcases.
Oh, really?
Because it's 10 degrees again, and we only had my bedding. I didn't even have sleeping bags, just my regular bedding from my house that two people were sharing in 10-degree temperatures, 35-mile-an-hour winds and ice storms, and, God, I wish we had blankets. Boom, somebody walks up and says, do you need any blankets? Do you need any jackets?
My goodness.
Do you need a heater? It was like bam, bam, bam. So it was a really good lesson for me, again, even though, as we've already discussed, I already knew these things, and I tried to do it in my limited mentality. Oh, let's take this risk, let's take that risk. But I literally had to throw all caution to the wind and be completely dependent on the nurturing, the magic of the universe and what the universe had planned for me, not what I had planned for me.
I hear that. Someone in the chat is saying that, of course, there's a big difference between knowing it in your head and knowing it by your personal experience, in my true essence, so to speak, and in the heart, in the heart. Well, okay, so throwing caution to the wind, that is a loose translation from what I'm hearing, of trusting in a new way.
That's all it is. And I knew that I didn't know what that other way was, but I knew there was another way. And I knew that if I kept trusting and kept moving forward by following my heart and doing what I felt was right at the time, whatever my inspiration or, spirit told me to do, that the next answer or clue, so to speak, the next piece of the puzzle would be there. So as scary and tumultuous and sometimes dangerous and everything it was, I still knew. Like, I didn't want to change it. People tried to rescue me or, let me help you, give you this, let me get you out of this. You shouldn't be that, blah, blah, blah. And all good intentions. Don't get me wrong. I'm definitely not knocking anyone who tried to give me a helping hand, but I didn't want it. I had to do it myself. I had to immerse myself in the void, just complete darkness and not knowing anything.
I congratulate you because you know that you are alive. So many people are so in the rut, and I'm sure I have areas of this in my own life, where they're really not living fully and don't even realize it. So you know that you're alive now. Congratulations.
Well, no, I can't do this because I can't leave my job, or I can't do that because my friends are here, or I can't, it's all these I can'ts we tell ourselves, and that's how you know you're in a rut. When you tell yourself that you can't live to the fullest and experience your true heart's desires, you are in a rut, honey.
Whoa, okay. I love that. That is a great definition. So the definition of a rut is if you can't live your heart's true desires, is that?
If you believe that you can't because some other, let's call it an obligation. That sounds fair. That sounds good, right? Everybody loves and respects people that does things they don't want to do out of obligation. But what are you doing to yourself? Your spirit is saying, yes, 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 or I want this, I want this, I want that. And your mind is saying, oh, no, 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 you're not good enough, you don't deserve that, you need to do something else. And, again, I'm not knocking people who choose to take responsibility for other people and this and that for periods of time. I love it, I respect it. But at the same time, most people are not loving themselves fully and completely when doing that. They feel that sense of obligation, that sense of dread. It keeps them from getting jobs. It keeps them from traveling. It keeps them from having friends. It keeps them from going to school or learning new things. Or, oh, I can't do this because I have to take care of that. We all have that.
Yes, we do. We all do.
But I don't know, I just experienced some extreme magic. The last 5 months have been indescribable as far as words are concerned. It's just something that has to be experienced. And, I told myself most of them, I was still a little crazy. Even as a single mother, we still did our road trips without any money. We still lived in the van for a month or 2 or 3 at a time. Or, we still did those things. But I always went back to this place I hated in Branson. And, I like the place. It's beautiful. I love my gardens, blah, 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 right? But I had that comfort zone. I could never do this because I have my house. Or I could never, what do people with 15 cats say? I've always wanted to go to Europe, but I could never go there because what am I going to do with my 15 cats? Right?
Yeah.
So we use things like that, whether it's sick parents, sick dogs, sick whatever it is, to keep ourselves in that comfort zone.
Someone in the chat is weighing in, saying that what we're discussing sounds like chains. The obligation sounds like chains.
Absolutely. And, there's a time and a season for everything, okay? I mean, of course, if, your mom or dad or brother or whatever gets sick or whatever, you want to take care of them and you truly want to, beautiful, great. It's not forever. But you know what I'm talking about, the people that get lost in that forever and end up never living their lives. They don't do anything for themselves at all. They're always beating themselves up. And, I realized, what if, my little kitty we had here, what if we learned to love ourselves like everybody loves that kitty?
Whoa.
What if we could love ourselves that way? When we're feeling down, we could say, self, I love you so much. It's okay. It's just temporary. It's fleeting. You're beautiful. You're strong. You're, blah, blah, blah. All the things that you would tell your best friend or tell your dog or tell your kitty or tell your lover or tell whoever else it is you love. What if we could love ourselves like we love them?
Yes, indeed. Boy, I'll tell you what, I have so many questions for you, Christie, and I want to make sure that people have the phone number to call in because, as you observed, there was something a little off that I published on the phone number. The correct number to call is 724-444-7444. So that's 724-444-7444. And you can ask Christie a question and maybe have a comment as well. So we're talking about loving yourself out of your comfort zone. So, okay, Christie, you have always presented yourself as someone who enjoys living on the edges. I mean, you're not exactly what I would call mainstream. And so, and this is a compliment, okay, in this context here on Unzipping Reality. That's a high compliment. And we don't have a lot of mainstream guests on this show, you know. And so what is the difference between living your life as, you know, outside of the box, living your life doing very interesting things, your radio show and sending all of these wonderful healing prescriptives to people and working with people and nurturing your garden and really being a guidepost for many people. What's the difference between what you were doing then and espousing all of your beliefs that are way outside the box? What's the difference between that and what you are experiencing now?
Ooh. I'll tell you what's different. I was doing what I love to do. I love to be on radio. I love to nurture. I love to help people. I love doing my sessions. I love gardening. I love making medicine. I love that. That's in me. But I let it get to a point of obligation. I no longer, I mean, I don't want to say this wrong. I was having fun, but not as much fun and joy as I could have because it turned into too much pressure. Well, oh my God, what happens if I miss a show? I'm going to let all these people down. Or, you know, what if I'm not able to make this session at this time? I suck, Christie. You're never going to be good at this. And, you know, the things that we tell ourselves. Whereas, you know, and I was still coming from a place of fear. I thought that I had to do more of what I love to do to be happy. Happy meaning money. Happy meaning, you know, admiration and adoration and people recognizing that I was doing something, you know, good or whatever, helping people. You know, like I felt that I had to be, you know, gosh, why can't they see me? I'm in this place, you know, helping all these people, and they all want to kill me. What's up with that? You know, poor me.
Really.
They just know. And you see, so I don't feel that anymore. I have to love. I love myself. You know, and I was kind of on the edge with that. Yeah, I could admit I was a cool person, but still I had the not good enough programming. But after, you know, and I've been through some stuff. You and I know we definitely don't have time to, you know, even address any of those issues. But this last one, which was the soul journey, that was my soul journey, which was why I didn't want any help, why I didn't call you or Tobias or someone else crying, saying, help, I suck, whatever. I just knew that this was the time I had to walk all the way through by myself, which gave me the confidence that I am good enough, that it reinforced my knowing in my intuition and following my spirit. And, you know, as crazy and erratic and wild and raw as I may appear to be or already am at times, I had to go deeper to break through. So what's different now is, you know, I still know there's something else out there for me. I know it's what I'm doing now, but different. And there's a few other options, but I gave up the idea that I had to figure it out now. I need to know the answer tomorrow. And that's kind of how I took off on this journey. I'm going to be gone for a month, and by then I'm going to have all the answers, and I'm going to go home, and then everything's going to magically be different.
Yes. That's kind of like a vacation. That's not really the same as a soul journey. I just want to thank you so much for giving us a little window into your heart, because I know people are really getting this. So you have been on like the soul journey of all soul journeys, and you met your true self. You met yourself. And I want to ask you, you said, I needed to do this on my own. I needed to do this by myself. And when you were guiding your own self, did you feel alone, or did you find that there is a God, that there is a Holy Spirit? Are there angels? What is it that you discovered when you turned loose of all the controls? What did you find?
Okay, initially, I felt alone. I felt afraid. I felt I even tried to fall back into my old not good enough programming. And there were lots of lures, Leah. There were lots of lures. Here, let me fix it for you, where I was tempted to go back and let somebody, walk me through it. And each and every time I did that, every time I felt that temptation, there was this big ugly monster around the corner, like, ha, 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 I fooled you, dangling the carrot. Are you sure you want this? And I would feel, no, that's not right, and what's going to happen if I go, or, move on, or this and that. So, there were definitely those lures. After repeating that, probably 4 times, I just decided this is it, do or die, bust. And a lot of self-talk, like, Christie, you're right there, you're on the edge. You just go one more step. It's okay if you don't know. And that is where I felt surrounded by love. But it was when I was alone, when I said no to every other opportunity. Yeah. So I never felt alone, and in fact, I enjoy being alone. I guess I'm like the only chick that goes and camps by herself in ice storms everywhere around the country.
Yeah, that's pretty different. To say the least. This is remarkable what you are describing, because, like on your website, mytrueessence.net, you are encouraging people to be self-healers, to heal themselves, to trust their own intuition. And you might want to give them a jump start and model that for them and guide them and help them establish that kind of a vibration and a bolder way of addressing their health. But it sounds to me like this is what you have done. You have reached a new place of knowing your own self. And it's so beautiful. I want to thank you for sharing your heart with people, because you really are loved, and you're just kind of being a superstar, and we just are enjoying so much hearing some of these juicy details about how you've made these discoveries.
Yeah, I was always loved, but I didn't feel it because I didn't quite I was on the edge, but I never truly stepped over. Mm-hmm. And that was where I learned to love myself and rely on myself. So as much love as I had from other people before, I didn't feel it. I didn't see it. And it wasn't their fault. I knew Leah loved me or whatever, but, really in the back of my head, I suck. She's just being nice. Or what's there to love about me type thing, right? Yeah. So
I hear that. I really hear that. So it doesn't matter if you are lovable, so that other people love you. Sometimes it's just it gets deflected. Because if you go, well, I know that, they think this and that, but I can't for the life of me understand why, because I suck.
And maybe they never really even thought that. Maybe it was just me projecting my feelings of self-shame and doubt and hate and all of that onto them. Oh, well,
exactly.
Leah doesn't think I'm good enough. Well,
exactly.
Leah just happened to be there, and I blamed Leah, right?
Yeah. There you go. Perfect. You can do that. Well, tell me this. What are you up to right now? What are you doing in terms of offering all of your many gifts to people? Where are you living? And paint us a little picture about how you've transformed yourself.
Okay, well, I am basically doing everything I love to do. I'm out in nature. I get to listen to free concerts every night. It's the Battle of the Frogs on the river.
And this is in Florida, correct?
Mm-hmm. I'm in Florida right now. Yeah, and I live in a travel trailer, so if something isn't right, I can pick up and go to the next place or whatever. But me being where I am right now was definitely divinely inspired. I mean, I always tell people when it comes to dreams, because, people always want to know, oh, I had this dream last night. What does it mean? Well, I don't know. Write it down. Read it a month from now. So I've been doing that the last few years, and they don't make sense at the time, but they always do a month, 2, 3 months later, and there were all these clues and all of, literally, if I would have known what they meant at the time, I would have, and if I knew that this place existed, and things like that, it makes total sense.
Mm-hmm.
But
I know that you're helping people. You're helping people because I know you, and you're always going to be helping people to tighten up some of their lack of juicing and things like that. You're always going to be there with your little bag of goodies for people and offering that to them as the gift that you are. And so I know that you're continuing to do that. Is that accurate?
It's totally accurate. I'm the chick that carries all the stuff they say.
Right.
God keeps putting me in situations that I need to be in. Like, I get to meet these beautiful, old people that need help and that they're actually looking for it and want it. And then God just puts me right there in their lap. Or even right here, it's like they all said, oh, my God, I was looking for somebody like you, and here you are. And, I go out because I promised somebody I'd give them flyers for the class, and then a dude gets stabbed right there, and there I am, ready to respond and help. And it's just
really
beautiful. Like, I don't look for it. I just listen to that voice saying, Christie, I know you're tired and you're in bed in your pajamas, but you did tell CJ you'd go over to this place and drop this off for her, so go do it anyways. Okay, yeah. So I do, and I just listen to silly little things like that really make sense to nobody, but to me, I know that there's a reason. Does that make sense? So, yeah, you're totally right. I've already found new Rickies in my life that, but the difference is they're already looking, whereas before they weren't really looking. They had already given up and, thought, well, screw this, there's no hope. And, maybe obviously God had a universal consciousness or whatever you want to call it, had a different plan. Otherwise, our paths would have never crossed.
Sure.
But it's just different now because before I was kind of hated and finger-pointed and persecuted and called a witch doctor and all these things. And now, I'm the girl that washes kayaks and who happens to have a little knowledge that can help different people with their different ailments. And it's just,
that is fantastic. I would call that very successful. Can you talk to us a little bit about this thing about fear, about facing your fears? Because I know at least somebody that's listening to this conversation has some degree of fear in their life. Can you talk to us about what it's like to face your fears and what happens when you do that? This is what they write the great epic stories about, is facing your monsters, facing your fears. Is it really possible?
Absolutely. And I'll tell you first, the end part of your question, what happens? Self-confidence, vibrance, vitality, just a presence that people enjoy, and that you yourself enjoy. Now, how do you get there? We're all in fear over something. Some people die in fear. Oh, I wish I would have done that, or I wish I would have done this. And they let that dictate every choice they make in their life. Oh, I want to talk to this girl, but I'm afraid she'll never talk to me. Or, oh, I really want to go to this foreign country, but I don't speak the language, and something might happen to me. Somebody might take advantage of me. Or, you watch the news, and you think there's a boogeyman jumping out of every frickin' corner trying to rape you and your children and your mother and your dog. And, sort of hold us back, but when you really look at it, I mean, we're spirit. We happen to be wearing a meat suit. We have a few bones and some flesh and this and that, but we are eternal. We're here to enjoy life to the fullest, to live to our heart's content, to follow our soul journey, not some king or some, scientist or some, whatever. Whatever it is that we fear.
Yes.
Well, I mean, what do you have to lose? Do you want to live for you, or do you want to live for somebody else? Okay, when you get to that point where you realize that, okay, well, because everybody says, we're eternal, blah, blah, blah. They talk all these stupid mantras, but nobody actually lives it. They're so fear-ridden, they won't even leave their house. They won't leave their computer. They won't leave their caves because, I'm going to be spiritually evolved if I just isolate myself from the rest of the world because the rest of the world is stupid. Well, what if every other person on the planet was your teacher?
Nice.
Wouldn't you look at them a lot different instead of judging them and, well, they're not my type, or they're not my kind, or they're not good enough, or they're jerks, or guess what? Newsflash, we're all freaking jerks to someone at some point, and it doesn't even necessarily mean we're a jerk, it's just their perception of us.
Yes. Christie, this is phenomenal what I'm hearing from your heart. I just so am enjoying this. This is incredible. Thank you. Yeah, so who cares what other people think about you? However, they are our teacher. So there is a responsibility to connect some dots, right?
Yes, absolutely. So instead of focusing on our differences, let's focus on what we have in common. Okay, what we have in common, we share meat and bones. We also share spirit. We also share life. We share the same breath. We all share the need and desire for love. We all share the need for food, for water, right? We all share these things. So why not focus on that when we're looking around and pointing fingers and judging everyone? Let's look and see how we can help them or make their day better, or, somebody cut you off. Big deal. Does that mean you need to go around kicking your dog and treating everybody else like crap for the rest of the day because some dude messed up your day in the morning traffic? Or, forgive him. Okay, we don't know what happened to him. Maybe they were racing to the hospital or something, with their gut torn out. Or having a seizure, or they had a baby dying in the back. Or, we don't know.
We don't know.
Each moment, freaking breathe. Enjoy the moment right now. Don't worry about the moment that's going to happen when we end the show or tomorrow. Live this moment to your fullest. Are you breathing? Are you enjoying the miracle of life that you have to share with all these people? Or are you in fear of everybody? when you get to that point, just relax. When we're all going to have fears. I guarantee at some point in my life I'm going to experience fear again. But I've learned a new way where I can allow it, not fight it. What you resist persists. Allow it. Oh, well, that's cool. Thanks for showing up for me. And you know what? I'm ready to let you go. So I'm going to take that leap. I'm going to step all the way over the edge, not just walk on the edge for the last 7 years. Like I did,
Spectacular.
I mean,
I think that we have been talking about this. You and I have been talking about this on your radio show, and it's a very, very big conversation, and I feel like a broken record sometimes, and I am just as challenged as anybody to live my own coaching. And what you have just said, so you allow the fear to be there. You recognize it. You allow it to be there. You don't try to resist it. And then
call it an experiment.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Well, I'm afraid of wild pigs in the jungle.
Okay.
Well, go out in the jungle with a friend and a flashlight or whatever you need and call it an experiment. Well, look at how many, oh my God, I know a woman who has like 15 acres, beautiful lush property. She never goes outside, ever, because she's afraid of snakes. Well, I asked her, I said, how many times have you been bitten by a snake? She says, never. Mm-hmm. Okay. So you're 67 years old. You never go outside because you're afraid of something that has never happened to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There you go.
It was just the funniest thing. And, I can't go camping because I'm afraid of a spider. Or, I'm afraid of big dogs. Or whatever it is, just call it an experiment. Go play with it. Have fun with it. Because isn't that why we're here?
I think so.
And we're not supposed to be these fearful little freaking clones.
Correct.
We're supposed to have fun. And you know what? If you fail, you fall, you drop 15 things at work like I did today or whatever, it's funny. Laugh. If you can't laugh at yourself, I mean, my grandmother taught me as a young girl that was the key to happiness, learning to laugh at yourself. And we're so fearful that other people are going to point fingers and, ha, 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 she dropped something again. Ha, 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 look at that dork. She messed up again. And that goes back to loving ourselves as we love our children or as we love those little kitties and puppies. I mean, Leah, what would happen if your daughter, she came to you and says, Mom, I've always wanted to be a dancer, but, I couldn't make it past 6 months when you gave me tap and ballet lessons, and I thought I was fat and looked ugly in the leotard, and, but I really want to do it. I'm just afraid that people are going to boo me off stage. Mm-hmm. What would you tell your daughter?
Yeah.
Now, that's the same thing that you have to tell yourself. You have to practice telling yourself, okay, because this is not going to happen overnight. It's definitely a process. But just if you can be conscious of that, what would I say to my beautiful daughter in this situation? Practice saying that to yourself.
Yes. I love what you're saying. I love that. And I have to share with you what Casey's saying in the chat. Because he's saying, like, scared of a pig? Ha, 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 ha. Christie would have it on a spit within the hour.
I tell you what, I'm ready to make some squirrel stew here.
And so he says, hi, Christie, dear.
It makes you sweet and hard. I'll send you some wild pig and some squirrel stew here soon.
A wild pig. Wow. I live on the most beautiful river, maybe not the most beautiful in the world, but the most beautiful river in my world at this point in time. Yes.
This guy here that's lived here 11 years. I know someone else that's been here 20, maybe 30-something years. And I actually got her on the river. for the first time, which was really cool. And she's working on her fears, so that's really cool to see her grow and blossom and everything. But this guy who's been here 11 years, never been on the river because he's afraid of alligators.
Are you serious?
Bit by an alligator. Well, never. Okay, so you're going to come and look at this river that you love, but you're never going to touch it because you're afraid of something that, what, a dude got bit like 2 years ago once or something. Big deal. You know, he probably needed it as part of his soul journey. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to sound harsh, but we need those rests. And I tell people all the time, being disabled was the best thing, one of the best things that had ever happened to me. I needed that time to go within, because I was so distracted in the fears and the pressures of society and all those things that we're supposed to do. I was too freaking chicken to do it. Once I was in a wheelchair and, you know, my children feeding and clothing me, like, you know, I'm supposed to be the person picking up people off the floor. They were doing that to me. And it humbled me tremendously, but it also gave me that time that I needed to look within, to reflect, and see where I was going wrong and how I could get closer to knowing myself and living my life to its fullest. Big deal.
So now today you're able to say thank you for that experience. That's
was based on that fear. I mean,
really amazing. That is just amazing. Well, I'm being flagged down here to say hello to you from Maury, who is in the chat.
I love you too. Hi, Maury. Hi, Casey. And I don't know who else is there because I'm on my cell phone. But
and Lambie Poo. Do you know Lambie Poo?
Lambie Poo. I just talked about you.
And then, of course, Casey. So, yeah, we've got the family here. So, so they wanted me to say hi. And I'm sorry I keep stepping on you when you're not finished speaking. There's maybe a little delay sometimes on the phone line, and so I apologize for doing that. So, okay, we've covered a lot of territory, and if anyone would like to call in and ask Christie something maybe of a personal nature, we don't have to identify you. That's not mandatory on Unzipping Reality. You can stay zipped a little bit, but anyway, if you'd like to call in and just ask anything or comment, have a little chat with Christie, this is the time to do it. And the number to call is 724-444-7444. 724-444-7444. So I would really like to talk with you, Christie, about something that you just touched on, and that is about being serious.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. Well, anybody who's ever heard one of yours and Tobias's show knows the answer to that question. But what do you think? What do you think about this idea of when we get so tied up in our routines, and it's like, oh, it's got to be this way, and I've got to be perfect in this way, and I've got to be more serious. I've got to try harder, longer. I've got to focus more and be more intentional and try harder and set more goals and all of this kind of thing. And I know that you have been addressing this, but could you address how important it is to be able to laugh at yourself and release some of that over-serious attitude?
We need to play more. But before I go into that, first of all, when we're hearing these things, you're not good enough, or you have to do this, or you have to get a better job, or you have to make more money, or you have to blah, blah, whatever it is that we're hearing, ask yourself, says who? Who says that? How does this person, if it even exists, know? How would they know? Let's say it's parental pressure. Of course, parents want you to, they have your best interest, of course, but we are our own individual, right? So, says who? Your mom says you have to be a doctor, or your dad says you have to be in the military, or your husband says you have to do, says who and why? Or is that just those fears creeping in where your spirit is directly misaligned, opposite of what you're living? Because every time we say yes when we really mean no, we are giving pieces of our soul away. We are giving our life force away. We're basically telling God, screw you. I know what's best for me. My mom knows what's best for me. The president knows what's best for me. This person I'm trying to seek their approval, whoever it is, they know what's best for me. God, you're stupid. You can't do anything right.
Wow. That is incredible. I'd love to hear you say that again.
What did I say? No, I'm just kidding.
Well, what you were just saying about.
Think about when we were talking about my soul journey earlier, and honestly, Leah, when I made that last video about stepping outside of your comfort zone, and then I got deleted. Oh man, yeah. I really felt, and I said this in the video, I felt like a fraud. And I know I'm not a fraud. You know I'm not a fraud. But as we spoke about, I've been on the edge for the last 7 years, but I still had my comfort zone, like a whiny little baby. I still had to go camping with my juicers and my coffee and my cashew cream and my Vitamix and my tobacco. I'm too scared to smoke the commercial stuff because that's not good enough, right? It's going to kill me or blah, 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 whatever. Or I can't drink that gas station coffee. That's, I was such a baby, I realized. That although I was already so outside of the norm, I still felt that I was holding on to a lot of things. I had to have my own coffee. I had to have, and these are just dumb little examples, but anybody who knows me knows how serious they really are. Oh, I have to have my tomatoes. I could never eat that disgusting crap from the store. Or I had to have, so even though my life appeared to be chaotic, and Christie's so cool, she lives on the edge, blah, 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 she's the best risk taker ever, I still had things that I was holding on to.
Sure. And, just hearing what was comfort zone to you may be uncomfortable to others.
Oh, totally.
Seriously. Yeah. And so it's totally custom designed.
Yeah. So what I realized then is I had to turn everything into an experiment. Well, Christie, relax. You can try instant potatoes tonight, and, maybe you die, maybe you don't. Well, guess what? I didn't die. And then I had some potatoes.
I love instant potatoes, for the record.
All these things that I didn't make for myself. Like, I have to rely on other people. And I know to the rest of the world that doesn't seem like much. But to me, that's huge because I'm the chick that does everything herself. Why? Well, yes, I love to do it, number one. Number two, because I think I can do it better. How's that for control and fear?
Yeah. Right? Yeah, this is fantastic. I mean, you have had lightning bolts of revelation during these past 6 months. I mean, it's been this is an epiphany of all epiphanies. It sounds like. Well, somebody in the chat is saying that the Snickers has all the answers.
Wise woman. Yeah. I'm in training.
That's absolutely true. But that is just so cool that you're playing. You are a woman at play.
Yeah.
And
that is guilty. Oh, I can't take time for myself. That's selfish, or that's irresponsible, or I got to work. I got to do this. I got to do whatever it is.
Yeah.
And one of my sweetest, bestest friends in the universe. He's like the sweetest spirit ever. But he I mean, if he stayed in bed till 9, he would probably turn into a pumpkin. Because he was programmed to feel guilty that, the sun's up, you got to get up and work. And it doesn't matter if you have a good job to go to or not, but you have to get up and work and do something. And it's like everything is work, and work is great. I love work. I love getting my hands dirty. I love labor, but we have to fill our own cup first. How do you do that? By doing what you love to do, whatever it is, without guilt.
That's too simple. I'm sorry, that's too simple, Christie. Give us something hard.
Sorry, I'm ruining it. I should use big words and sound all fancy and, talk about my cheese deck or some Pleiadian frickin' nightmare.
Yeah.
This is
amazing.
People don't want simple. They want it hard. It's like, they go everywhere else, and then they come to me, and it's like, wait a minute. You're already doing everything right. Just the fact that you're asking questions and seeking change, it's not up to me. When you were talking about the healing and my site and how I promote, I teach people to do it themselves, okay? Yeah, I could help you. I could hold your hand. I'd love to do that. I feel extremely blessed to the highest degree to be able to do that for people who are looking, right? But it's not me. I'm not going to fix you. I'm not going to. You're going to do it. You are doing it, or you wouldn't have even sought me or Leah or Tobias or anyone else to begin with.
Yeah,
you're the one that's going to do it, and you know how? Trial and error, and mistake after mistake, and learning to laugh at yourself and goof up and know that it's okay, and know that what you think is goofing up really isn't goofing up. It's just getting you a step closer to where you're supposed to be and helping you shed those layers of judgment and shed those layers of shame and self-hate and the programming that we're bombarded with. Let it go, people. Really, it feels good. I feel 1,000 pounds lighter.
No kidding. I was
last 6 months.
It is totally obvious, really, in a very profound way. And I mean, this is like a celebration here.
Yes.
This is fantastic. And, I've wanted to have you on the show for a long time. And it just, for one reason or another, it just hadn't really gone that way. And now, this is the time. You have so much to share because you have become the journey itself. And I just, I am really, really happy to hear you be able to share this in such a way that others can get it for themselves. It's very clear. And I know I'm kidding when I say, hey, make it hard for us. That's too easy. Just live your dream.
Oh, that's what people want.
Yeah. Seriously. And so you really have gone deep, deep, deep within yourself. And you discovered something. Well, someone's saying in the chat, they're using the word divine. You've found your own divinity, haven't you?
Well, I wouldn't go so far to say as I've really found anything concrete. Because I'm always growing and I'm always evolving, and as much as I love myself now, and as much fun as I'm having, and things seem to make sense right now. Yeah, but I'm not going to say this is the end all be all. I believe when you're not learning, you cease to live. And it is my goal to learn something new every day, so I'm totally open to being a whole new person 6 months from now or even 10 years from now or whatever. It's more, so, I mean, yeah, I have seen aspects of it. I've definitely experienced aspects of it. Yeah. But whole shebang, I would never say that. I wouldn't want to limit myself.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, and that is understandable. I think that I like what you're saying, that you are acknowledging that you are on the path, and that the path does have a divine blueprint.
Oh, yes.
Would that be safe to say?
I love that. Yeah, definitely. I'm on the path of my divine blueprint, but that doesn't mean I have all the answers.
Oh, correct. Oh, no. And no one at this microphone from this side or the guest side has ever had all the answers, nor ever will. In the event that would happen, I guess we would be in some other life form. I don't know, but there would be no need to have internet radio shows, that's for sure. So I don't see that happening anytime soon. But yeah, people that have all the answers, I really believe this. It's creepy. It makes me nervous. I feel for people like that. And so congratulations, you're learning something new every day. I just love that. And I want to ask you, I'm back on this fear thing, because this is really what drives our planet, is the vibration of fear. We know this. It's like we bathe in it every day because that's what's out there. And so you've talked about putting ourselves at risk, facing our fears, and recognizing the comfort zone syndrome, and then doing whatever it takes to get beyond that, and being good to yourself, and so on and so forth. I think I read somewhere where you had written about how well-meaning people just really by habit, I do think it's just a tradition or a habit, they say things like, and forgive me if I've ever said this to you, but they say things like, be safe, be careful.
Oh, you remember that post?
Yeah. And so could you talk to us about that, and why that's not a blessing to you, and why maybe we need to revisit what we say to people when, I mean, we're really afraid, huh? Can you speak to that?
Well, again, as I found out, I'm the only crazy chick in the world that goes and camps alone in ice storms and, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I always appreciate, people's concern and, oh, be careful. Oh, my God, are you sure you're safe out there? Or, oh, my God, how do you do that? You got to be afraid of axe murderers sleeping in rest areas, or, you're going to free, or all of these things. And I know they mean well, and I love you. I swear to God, I'm not knocking anyone that has told me to be safe or anything, but I believe that those feelings, those well wishes, come from a fear-based mentality.
Yeah.
So that energy is, if we choose to absorb it, is like, okay, for example, there were moments where I was fearful when I was driving the trailer back from Branson. I mean, my van's not supposed to be carrying things. Here I am with, I don't know how many freaking pounds on it, totally overloaded, fishtailing all over the freeway. And, I just had to kind of laugh and breathe. And it's like, duh, Christie, you're going to get back there safely because everything was divinely appointed anyways. You're supposed
there you
to
go.
be. So why are you falling for that? So I could fall into that point where I'm driving with white knuckles and looking all around, and, there's nothing I can do anyways. Let's say I do go off the road and fall off a cliff or whatever. Oh, well.
Yeah.
When it's our time, period. And I was totally okay with that. And I'm like, all right, well, if I'm going to drive up the mountain, I'm going to drive up the mountain, whatever, it's been fun. And, that would be a cool way to go out anyways. But you all know I'm going to haunt you forever anyways, so I'm not really going anywhere. It's just most of you won't be able to see my physical body, and that's okay, too. So,
yes. hear what you're saying. It's like the tendency to be fearful is there. So we don't deny that that's there. I mean, you were nervous on certain parts of your traveling on the highway with the trailer. You were nervous about it. You were a little apprehensive that you would actually make it.
I've never done this before. I'm not doing right, whatever. And then I just had to laugh at myself. Ha, 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 Christie. You've heard these thoughts before. And, so I just had a party in my head. And
oh, that's
I just
great.
kind of laughed at myself and noticing that those fears are coming. I mean, just because I am considered fearless does not mean that I don't feel little glimpses of fear try to, rear their ugly heads at times. It still happens. I feel it, but I just catch it sooner, and I laugh at it and think, that's one thing that's really changed. Like, it used to upset me if people didn't want to hear my message or even see a better way for themselves or whatever, or if somebody was rude to me. I had a dude call me sir twice today.
Really?
I know. I don't know what I'm saying. And, most people could be really mad at that. Or there's this one, kind of, I don't even want to use I hate labels, but we'll just use the label racist because that's what people, call them and whatever. And, there was a time where I'd be so offended and, oh, my God, I can't talk to you because you're less than and blah, 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 whatever.
Right.
And now I don't care. People can feel whatever the heck they want to feel. They can call me a sir. They can tell me I look pregnant. They can tell me I look like a boy. They can tell me I have a crooked mouth or, this or that. And I think it's funny. Like the third time when the guy that has called me sir, he's like, oh, no, I know you're a woman. And I'm like, well, I decided to have fun with him. I'm like, well, how do you know? He's like, well, I could tell by the way you look. I'm like, well, how do you know? What if I had a really good surgeon? And
oh, my God. That's good.
Names or just retarded and just whatever, want to denigrate me or whatever. I just have fun with it and ask questions, laugh, and...
Is this new for you? This is new and fresh for you and fun for you, isn't it?
It's fun. I swear, I am more content. I'm experiencing more peace and joy and love in my life and peace more than ever. It's like something that I only dreamed of previously that I really didn't even know was possible, and the level of contentment I hold today.
Well, it's quite evident in your vibration and in your testimony. I mean, this is just music to many of our ears, and wow, great job. And I want to make sure people have one more opportunity to pick up the phone, 724-444-7444. 724-444-7444. And I've given that out many times because I did manage to mispublish that number. I don't know how that happened. It's got too many deadgum fours in it, I think.
A lot of fours.
They didn't ask me what number I wanted, but anyway, so this is just fantastic. So okay, let's set this up a little bit. Let's say someone says to you, Christie, be safe. I want you to be careful and don't take too many risks out there because we worry about you. And then, are you going to say, like blank you, or are you just going to? What's your new response to that?
Well, I just laugh and say thank you. I mean, I don't beat anyone up for giving me their honest, heartfelt response. It's just, I'll giggle and say, like, when I left for this trip, my neighbor said, have a nice trip. And what did I do? A second trip and fell down like 4 feet of mud and literally landed under my car. I tore something in my left arm. And, and I wasn't mad. I was just God, that is hilarious. She says, have a nice trip, and there I go and freaking trip. So I just
God.
with it. And then I figured, well, there's a reason why I'm not supposed to be full strength at this time.
Yeah.
And we all need to learn to be okay with asking for help, or, I've always had this fear of not being independent, completely independent, right? I have to do everything for myself and, blah, 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 otherwise I'm worthless or this and that. Well, I'll tell you what, those times where, okay, for example, the kitty again.
Yes. Little LF.
And a sweet, loving, dependent, little angel. Everybody wants to care for the dependent people and are willing to offer a helping hand, but, the too strong, independent, I can do everything type thing, that leaves you, like, alone and crusty and old and withered away, right? Because you know what? Guess what? None of us can do everything. And so, again, it just teaches me to rely on other teachers and helping hands and, just really paying attention to my unique gifts or what I have to offer, and then recognizing other people's gifts. Because I'll tell you what, if I want to give to somebody and they don't want to receive it, it hurts my feelings. And I had to realize that when I didn't want to receive other people's gifts, helping hands, talents, whatever it is that they offer, that I could be hurting their feelings too, because after all, that's their gift. That's what they're good at. That's what they're here to do. Let them.
Mhm. I see that. Well, this is okay, so I see that our time is going fast here at the end. I want to make sure I ask you a couple of other things, and you have just illuminated us so much tonight about what's possible. And I think we're just all inspired listening to you. Talk to us about what you have discovered about something that you have termed possessed by possessions.
Yeah, that's true. You gave me chills. You remember that. You were so observant, Leah. Thank you for that, by the way. I realized that it is so easy to become possessed by your possessions. We think that we possess these things, and these things make us feel secure, and they make us as cool as, or almost as cool as the Joneses, and we're always fighting to possess these things, but we're basically imprisoned by these things. How many people, even myself with my tiny house and my garden and whatever up in Missouri, it's like I would have loved to just get a one-way ticket to Ireland, but I couldn't. Because what am I going to do with all these things that are possessing me? Oh, wait, they're my possessions. It's mine. Oh, no. Guess what, Christie? They possessed me.
Wow.
All of these years. I'll tell you what, my furniture and everything that I sold and gave, I probably had that with me through like 8 different moves, 3 or 4 different states. And, everything was so difficult because I was so fearful of losing those possessions. Oh, I'll never be able to afford this nice furniture again. Or I'll never be able to, what am I going to do without this couch or this bed or this table or, or this, whatever it is that holds us down. All of these possessions are chains.
Yeah.
Period. So while we think we're, he who has the most toys wins, we think, oh, we have the mostest, we're the bestest, we're the coolest, everybody knows us. Well, guess what?
Right.
You are possessed. And that's how easy it is. If you want to talk on an energetic or a spiritual level, we really do. Anybody can be possessed by something as simple as saying, oh, I would do anything to have that car. whatever, Ferrari, whatever, you name it. I don't care. Then what happens? Whatever, you call them archons, call them negative entity, whatever anybody wants to call them or refer to them as, or maybe it's just your own energy that has a window in to your soul. Okay, you'll do anything? All right, well, here, I'm going to dangle the carrot. Is Christie going to fall for this trap in the Keys? Is she going to fall for this trap in Panama? Is she going to fall for this trip in, where the heck was that? Newport Richie? Or, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Those possessions is what keeps us possessed. When you are willing to let it go and let it flow, I guarantee these stupid things, which it's cool to have, right? Everybody wants to, have a kayak or whatever, a snowmobile or whatever. Yeah, it's cool, this and that. But most of us, we give our soul away just to acquire those possessions that keep us away from what we really want to do. I got to keep going to that job that I hate to make these payments for this stupid thing that I never should have bought, but I had to keep up with my neighbor, and people would think I was cool, and you know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yes. I do hear that, and so just to clear, people's imaginations run wild with them. So, do you have certain possessions? Like, do you sleep in a bed? Do you have a toothbrush? I mean, do you have possessions at all?
I have a trailer. So I have a little baby house on wheels. And of all the things, I mean, I literally let everything go, but a few dumb clothes, my books, not all of them, of course. I had to let those go. Some books. And I kept rocks and pine cones and feathers and, sentimental, gifts that people gave me along the way. So,
that's beautiful.
Just to a few boxes.
That is so very brave of you, and I think that, we're at a disadvantage in many ways growing up in America because we've been sold a bill of goods. And we haven't really understood what happiness is. Well, I want to make sure that before we end tonight, we've been talking about loving yourself out of your comfort zone. And Christie, to be honest, I didn't really ask your permission to call this interview by that title. It just occurred to me, and I just thought that just really entices me because that is what we are establishing is this field of love, and as it emanates from our heart. So I hope that was okay with you. I didn't ask your permission.
Yeah, you are so great. It was absolutely perfect.
Well, I hope so. Anyway, it seemed to fit with everything that you are open to right now. And I wanted to just say that there was a comment in the chat, and it has to do with you want to make sure that if you have, I'm kind of paraphrasing this, if you have any possessions at all, you must keep them safe in Tupperware.
All right. Duly noted.
And keep your Tupperware in your Tupperware so your Tupperware will be safe.
I will.
Oh, gosh. But what I wanted to just bring around here at the close is to get back to this idea and experience of a comfort zone in and of itself. What is a comfort zone, and how do we know if we're in a comfort zone? How do we identify that? And this is so fresh for you, as on the edge as you are, you still, because you want to expand and evolve, you were bold enough to be honest with yourself and say, Christie, you're in a comfort zone. And so how does Leah say, Leah, you're in a comfort zone? How do I recognize that?
Have you ever said that you can't do something you really would like to do?
Okay. Whoa.
I think that sums it up right there. I can't, really come up with a better description. If you've ever told yourself no when you really wanted to say yes, or vice versa, if you've ever said, I can't do this because fill in the blank, you're in your comfort zone.
Oh, well, that's pretty clear.
I mean, it's good to have comfort. It feels nice and cozy and this and that, but, my path is different. I'm not telling everyone, if you're not doing it my way, you're doing it wrong.
No, we're not hearing that. No.
Everybody is doing exactly what's right for them. But I know for me that there is more than I was taught to believe, or more than, comfort's great, but it's the buzzkill. It's the buzzkill. I know a lot of people that are in situations, whether it's marriages or caretaking or, this big house that they can't afford, so they have to keep going to a job that they hate, or whatever it is. Oh, I hate this job. It's killing my soul, so I'm going to drink myself to death.
Yeah.
And I quit it because if I miss that paycheck, then I'm not going to be able to pay for all of these dumb toys I just bought. Well, you're in your comfort zone. And guess what? If we get real, these comfort zones are not very comfortable.
No.
So what I would do, as you all know, is say, screw this, and fly the coop and hope for the best. And not really, I wouldn't even call it hope. It was a knowing. Mm-hmm. It was knowing. And I didn't know what it was, though. I did not know the answer. I don't want anyone to think that I have all the answers. I don't have any of the answers.
Yeah.
I know what feels right and what doesn't feel right. And I had the fortitude to stick with what felt right and knew intuitively that it would work out whatever it was supposed to be. So with that comes the hardest thing of all, and that's surrender. Okay? But when we still have that fear, they say that, and I have, whatever it is that you think you have to do in your life, you're not surrendering to the divinity of a higher plan, a higher purpose. And what could be greater? Thank you, Whitney. The greatest love of all is what?
The greatest love of all?
Learning to love yourself.
Yes, love yourself. Love your neighbor as you love yourself.
How can you shine trying to be a half-rate Leah? Leah's so beautiful. Leah's so and I love you to frickin' death. But if I were to try to be you, I would only be a half-rate. And I would, again, be saying, God, screw you. What you created with me isn't good enough. I want to be her.
Yeah.
Well, would you rather be a more authentic and dynamic you than somebody else, no matter how cool Leah is, no matter how cool I am, no matter how cool Tobias or anybody else.
Anybody.
We're all great. Everybody's great. You're great. Every single person on this planet, and that is the key to find our own greatness. What makes your heart sing? That is the key. That is a question only you, each individual, can answer for yourself. It's not something that I can give you on a silver platter. It's not something that anybody can give you. It's for you to discover it and know that, you know what? It might be dark. It might be rough. It might be depressing. It might be hard. It might be whatever it is at certain times, but it's only temporary.
Yes, indeed. Well, you have obviously surrendered large chunks of your fear, and you have been on a glorious adventure. And you sound great, Christie. You really do. And we know you don't have all the answers, and we love you for that, but you certainly have the right questions. And that's what we admire and revere here on Unzipping Reality. So that brings us to the end of this wonderful show with Christie Czajkowski. Please go to her website, mytrueessence.net, and she sells Modifilan on there, and she's very, very popular in that regard. So please go and check out her website and forward it to your friends and tell people that Christie is happy, healthy, and wise, and will share any of that for whoever needs that sort of a healing enlightenment. And please check out my website as well, fearorlove.com, and I'm also an awakening coach. It's what I love to do, and we're all about self-empowerment. So, yes, indeed. Happy Mother's Day, everyone. Thank you, Casey. You are such a rock, and thank you for everyone that was in the chat. So lively tonight, and that's the kind of energy that Christie attracts, and I do appreciate all of you. And thank you, Christie Czajkowski, for being my special guest here on Mother's Day. I love you, and that is it for this portion and this version of Unzipping Reality. It's been a great show.
Whoa. You got 45 more seconds, right?
I've got, you want to say something else?
Yes, Leah,
Please.
My sweet little angel. You are just so beautiful, and I am so proud of you doing your own show and doing it yourself and doing your own website, and you have just grown so much. You are just such a freaking professional, and you're just doing a fantastic job. I just really wanted to say that. I mean, you know, you've always been amazing. I've always loved you. I've always thought you were awesome, but you're really shining now. You are very, very good at what you do, and I want to thank you for being instrumental in my growth. She is a fantastic awakening coach. You're amazing. I love you, and I just have so many people to thank. You know, you, Tobias, Casey, Lamby Poo. I don't even know who else is in the chat, but I mean, all of you. I would not be here today if it wasn't for you. And Leah, you've just done so much for me, and that's not lip service. You are the greatest. And I'm just really noticing how great you are on radio.
Thank you. Many, many gratitudes to you for those beautiful words, and that touches me. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So that's what can happen when we stop killing each other. we can actually walk hand in hand into the new day and strengthen each other and have that kind of self-respect and teamwork, and that is what it's going to take. So thank you so much, my sister, for your words. I just appreciate you so much. All right, and so I guess that's my signing off here is I'm Leah LaChapelle, and oneness happens with allowance and balance. So trust the process, know the process, be the process, and do the process as we unzip reality. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Get real and heal. Listen to Christie on Soul Journeys Radio.